African people. Today, we'll be talking about some times or some few times that African leaders have been humiliated or insulted, especially by leaders of the Western world or other countries. Imagine yourself seeing your president as an African. Somebody looks your president in the eye and asks, where did you learn your language from? Or where did you learn English from? From the English-speaking African countries. When English is your official language in your country, and a foreigner is asking you, where did you learn English from? So imagine a scenario like that. Because these are things has happened before. It's not just a tale, it's something that happened. Or somebody refer to your country as a shithole. These are not strange things. These are things that has happened to us as Africans, and these are things we are living with. We live to experience, and it's happening, especially to our leaders and to our continent. So like I said, today we'll be talking about many times that African leaders has been humiliated or insulted by other world leaders. In July 2007, the then French president, Nicolas Sarkozy, in his speech at Dakar University, among every other thing he said, one of the things he said that we are picking today is that among the tragedies of Africa is that the African has not really entered into history. This speech provoked widespread anger among Africans. September 2004, UK Foreign Secretary Jack Straw, an image was circulating that showing that he had a handshake with the then Zimbabwe president, Robert Mugabe. This thing triggered a whole lot of rows everywhere that why should he shake hands with Mugabe? All this because of the human rights records that they were saying that Zimbabwe was not following human rights records, doesn't have good human rights records. But people saw this as insult. Why would you not have a handshake with a fellow leader? It became a diplomatic embarrassment and further showing how Mugabe has become a pariah to the world stage. January 2018, in a closed-door meeting in the White House, the American president, Donald Trump, was talking about immigrants and all that. The next thing he said was, why are we having all these people from shithole countries coming here? He was referring to immigrants from Africa, Haiti, and El Salvador, that these countries are shithole countries. And probably I do not know how Africa became a country. Africa is a continent, of course. Though Trump never apologized for using such words or for his statement, but he later admitted that his statement was tough. September 2022, during the funeral of Queen Elizabeth II, images surfaced that some African leaders were packed into a bus. Some African leaders who attended the funeral were packed into a bus and were transported maybe from airport or from their hotels to the funeral venue. These are only African leaders. Meanwhile, you have other world leaders, every other world leader who attended arrived with their motorcade and were accorded their full respect. But African leaders were packed in a bus and driven to the venue of the funeral. July 2025, during a White House meeting with some other African leaders, Liberian President Boakai was speaking in English. When President Donald Trump started asking him, where did you learn English from? You speak very well. Your English is very good. How do you speak English this good? Where did you learn English from? And to the amazement of everyone, Trump looked surprised when the Liberian president told him that I learned my English from Liberia. Only for Trump to turn around and say, yeah, you speak very well. Even some people seated on this table can't even speak half as well as you do. These are your fellow leaders. But it never mattered to him. He was just busy saying whatever thing he wanted to say because he felt he has the right to say it or to say whatever thing he wants to say. But that was a diplomatic embarrassment. It was an embarrassment. It was an insult. It was a humiliation. Knowing that Liberia has English as the official language. So why ask him, where do you learn English? Why are you able to speak English? In March 2025, while talking about at a congressional hearing in the US, they were discussing about an $8 million that was sent to one LGBTQ event or something in Lesotho. Only for Donald Trump to say that why send $8 million to a country that nobody has heard of before? Meaning nobody has ever heard of the country called Lesotho. If he has never heard of Lesotho, I do not know why every other American has never heard of Lesotho too, or why he believes no other person has heard about it. Again, that was insult, that was humiliation. January 2025, French President Emmanuel Macron, while addressing his ambassadors, said that some African countries has forgotten to say thank you for their role in helping them fight jihadist insurgencies in their countries, in the Sahel. He described them as ingrates. Meanwhile, this uh, statement was referring to Burkina Faso, but some will say Burkina Faso, Niger, and Mali. But as at the time it was made, it was widely seen that it was referring to Burkina Faso because the Burkina president later responded to him. December 2013, during the events of the funeral of late President Nelson Mandela, the then President Jacob Zuma, was booed by his own people. This is seen as an embarrassment. It was the boo didn't come from foreign leader or something, but it was from his own people in the presence of every other world leader that attended the event. It was a very serious embarrassment to the president. September 2019, South African President Cyril Ramaphosa was booed during the funeral event of Robert Mugabe in Zimbabwe. He was seriously booed because every other world leader, some other world leaders were there, and he was being booed and heckled each time he wants to speak. This was because of the xenophobic, the way his government treated or handled the xenophobic attacks back in his country. July 2025, in a White House meeting with a Mauritanian president and other world leaders, President Trump suddenly became impatient with listening to the president of Mauritania and quickly told him to wrap it up. He shut it down and told him to wrap it up. Now, people looking at this will see it as a very serious embarrassment, telling a leader like you to cut his statement and wrap it up, and as if you are the only one that matters. But these are insults and humiliation that we've seen over time coming to African leaders. May 2025, in a White House meeting, Donald Trump confronted South African President Cyril Ramaphosa with false claims of white genocide and land seizures back home in South Africa, which many people later said never happened and were not true. But the president of South Africa didn't just take it lying down, he responded that those things never happened. And because of the way the South African president quickly responded, that was how people saw it that it was an insult on him to attack him or confront him that way. Do you know the story of any other African leader that has been humiliated or that we should talk about, any other African leader that has been humiliated or insulted that you want us to talk about, drop it in the comment section. We'll look at it and talk about it. If you found this video eye-opening and interesting, don't forget to subscribe and follow. So we'll continue to produce more videos for you. Then drop in the comment sections which of these incidences shocked you the more.